Hi, my name is Erica Staten, and this is my children's literature math lesson. So, the name of the lesson is What in the Crock, and that's a play on the story. So, my standard is a kindergarten standard, and it says understand the relationship between numbers and quantities. And then also, the substandard under that is to be able to count when counting objects, say the number names and in the order. And so, you get one number for each name. So, my target for the lesson is I can count to 10. So, prior knowledge, students should be able to count to 10 forwards and backwards because in kindergarten, you learn how to count to 100 pretty much every day. So, will always learn, you always will be counting to 10. And you should also be able to know one to one correspondence. Teaching strategies. So basically, I have the direct instruction. So students will be able to listen to the read aloud and then connect what they know about counting to 10 with the 10 crocodiles. And then the group discussion will talk about how they can make 10 and how they can know that objects makes 10 as well, not just by saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the independent practice will come within the small groups and they will be making 10 using different manipulatives. So the introduction to the lesson, I'll play the counting to 100 song, and the students will count on their fingers to 10, and we will show the number 10 different ways, and then we can talk about what we can do to make 10. And then this is the story that we'll be reading, Counting Crocodiles by Judy Sierra. So the teaching procedures, so I will explain that numbers go in an order from 1 to 10, and then I'll have the kids count again from 1 to 10 just to get that fluency in there and discuss why it's important to go in order when counting from 1 to 10. Then we will split off into our small groups. So the first group is Build It, and they'll take Unifix cubes and make 10 and build up a tower. Then there's a teacher-led group where we'll be writing the number 10 and other numbers to work on that number identification and number fluency. And then we'll have another group sequencing numbers from 1 to 10 using crocodiles, building off the story again. And then they'll be building 10 using a craft like beads, feathers, whatever the case may be. They just have to make sure that it's 10 of the items on their page. And then they can write, I made 10, or I can count to 10. Okay, and then the last thing they can do is for extra practice is they can do some online games. This is a good number identification game. The little guy tells you where to hop to the number, and then they hop on the number, and that shows from how you can count from 1 to 10. And then the closure of the lesson, it says, today we learn how to count to 10, not only with our fingers, but with objects around the classroom. So the type of assessment that I will use is a formative assessment. So during the lesson, the teacher will walk around the classroom observing if each student can count to 10. So me, as I am the teacher, I'll be noticing if students are saying 1, 2, 4 or 1, 2, 3, 5 and skipping over numbers and notice where I can help support in that area. And then also if each of the students, when they're doing their work, if they're actually placing 10 on their paper or if they're just not focusing. And then at the end of the lesson, there'll be an exit ticket and they're able to count the number of crocodiles they see on the screen. It'll be 10 because we're counting to 10. And then they'll put their number on the sticky note and stick it to the board. And then we'll go over how many crocodiles there were and they can see if their answer was right. So the modifications that the students will have, so if they have gifted abilities, they can be challenged a little bit more. They are able within their small group, so they know how to build 10 already. Well, they can add however many more they want. The catch is though that they have to tell me how many more they added and then what's the new number. And then if you have a student that still needs help counting to 5, they can just do the counting from 1 to 5. And so then they're able to just focus on that small group instead of the 10, and then obviously we'll build on that. And then lastly, the students with language barriers, teachers might want to speak with them in their language when counting and show them that uno is 1, and then just build up that. Obviously, eventually you will want to move away from this method so then they just know that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in the beginning, we can accommodate their needs because it is hard when you're learning a language barrier and trying to learn these things. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my counting lesson from 1 to 10 and how it relates to counting crocodiles, and maybe you're able to use this one day in your classroom. Thank you.